Hello dear students, I am Samir Velankar and I welcome all of you to this another video where we will see second example to check whether the given decomposition is lossless and FD preserving. In the previous video, we saw one example for the same problem in detail. We were given a table, it was decomposed in R1 and R2, and we were asked to find out whether this decomposition is lossless or FD preserving. Let's see more examples. In example 2, we have a table with 4 attributes A, B, C, D, and the FDs defined on the original table are as shown. And this table R is decomposed into 3 tables now. Check that R1 has AB, R2 has BC, and R3 has CD. Now, what might have happened, is that if R1 has AB, correct, then R2 has BC and R3 has CD, then the original table, if we write, the original table is R ABCD. What might have happened is that this table first might have been decomposed into ABC and CD. And this portion here, ABC, must have been decomposed into AB and BC. So this is R1 AB, this is R2 BC, and this is R3 CD. This is one possibility. The other possibility cannot be ruled out. This is our original table ABCD. What might have happened is that this table might have been decomposed as first as AB and BCD, and then this BCD must have been decomposed into BC and CD. So we got this R1 as AB, R2 as BC, and R3 as CD. Obviously, because at a time you decompose any given table only in 2 tables. Then further, a larger table might be again decomposed into 2 tables. So if this second possibility, if we consider this is what might have happened, then let us check from the bottommost tables R2BC and R3CD. You note that there is a common attribute C here, isn't it? For lossless decomposition, I am checking. There is a common attribute C, and that common attribute has to be a key in one of the tables. Now you watch from the original dependencies given. From the original dependencies, we have a dependency C determines D. So for R3, C determines D holds. That means C closure in R3 is going to contain C and D. So it's going to contain all the attributes C and D. C closure will contain all the attributes. So C is the candidate key in R3. That's enough. The common attribute C has to be candidate key in one of the tables, and it is candidate key in R3. Now let's go one level up and let's talk about R1 and this table BCD. That was a temporary table which was further broken down. Now these two tables have a common attribute B, as I am ticking here. Checking lossless again, isn't it? Common attribute is B, and you just check that for this second table BCD, okay, if you find B closure, let's check B closure. B closure is going to contain B obviously, and B determines C, which I am now ticking up there, is going to bring C, correct? Is going to bring C, and C determines D. You observe which I am ticking over here at the top is going to bring in D. So that's enough. You can see that actually A will also come in. A will also come in, but that's not needed because B closure is containing BCD, and BCD are all the attributes of that second table which I am talking about. So B has ability alone to determine all the attributes. That means B is the candidate key of the given table, and B is the common attribute. The common attribute has to be a key in one of the tables, and that is enough. That means all the possible decompositions at first level and at second level are lossless. I hope you have understood this. So this decomposition is lossless. No need of checking the first possibility that has been drawn on the left hand side. Second possibility is lossless, then the first has to be lossless. Just confirm it. If you start from the lowest level, R2 has a dependency B determines C. Check from the original dependency list given, which I am now ticking again. B determines C. So B is the candidate key for R2 and it is a common attribute. If you go and here, the common attribute is C, observe. But then C has to be candidate key in one of the tables, and you watch from the original dependency list, C determines D is there. So C determines D is true for R3. Then R3 has C as the candidate key and C is the common attribute. Hence, this decomposition is lossless. Okay. Now, what about FD preserving? Now we have three tables. I'll write them down again here. R1 has AB, R2 has BC, and R3 has CD. Okay, we have to now start with the smallest, the decomposed tables. And we will define what are the dependencies possible. Of course, non-trivial. I hope you have watched the earlier videos. We will not talk about A determines A or B determines B or AB determines B, isn't it? All these are trivial. The only non-trivial dependencies over here can be A determines B and B determines A. Now, how do you know whether this dependency is preserved or not? A determines B, or is it followed by R1? Simply you find A plus using our original dependency set. And notice, I'm not wasting time now. Notice A closure will contain ABCD. Check it on your own closure set. So A can determine B. Observe, it has B, isn't it? The closure has B. So A determines B is satisfied. How do you check B determines A? Using our original dependency set, find B closure and you will see that B closure will contain B, and B determines C will bring in C, and C determines D will bring in D, and D determines A will bring in A. So this also contains all the attributes. That means B can determine A. So these two dependencies are preserved. I hope you are understanding. Now let's see the other table R2. There are only two attributes B and C. So only non-trivial dependencies are B determines C and C determines B. How do you check whether B determines C is valid? Simply contact B plus here using our original table, and B plus contains C. So this dependency, which I am again ticking, is satisfied by R2. How do you check C determines B is valid? Find out C closure using our original FD set. C closure will contain C, and observe C determines D in the original FD set. So D will be brought in, and D determines A in the original FD set. So D will bring in A, and A determines B is also true. So B will also will be brought in. So obviously C has all the attributes. So C can determine B. This is also true for our second table. Now let's see R3. There are only two attributes. So the only two non-trivial dependencies is C determines D and D determines C. How do you check whether C determines D is valid? Check the FD closure. Check the closure set of C using our original table that we found. It has D, isn't it? C closure has D. So C determines D is satisfied. How do you check D determines C is satisfied or not? Find out D closure using our original FD set, which was given on the original table. Note, from the original FD set, what we get is we are finding D closure, then D determines A. So A will be brought in, A determines B. So B will be brought in, and B determines C, so C will be brought in. So obviously D closure is also going to contain D, C, A, B, all attributes. That means D also determines C. So these are the 6 dependencies together taken union of this. If you call this set as F1, this set as F2 here and F3, then union of these 3 are the dependencies which are satisfied totally. Now, if you write this union, then you just check which of the original dependencies are satisfied. Just check, is A determining B from the original FD set? Is this which I am ticking? Is it there in F1 union F2 union F3? Yes, it is there. I'll encircle it. Is B determines C there? Check that B determines C is also there in F2. I'm encircling it. Is C determining D? Is this C determining D available? Yes, C determines D available in F3 and D determines A. Is this there? Let's see. Let's see. D determines A is not there in F1 union F2 union F3, nowhere. But then who knows, it might be indirectly present. So you can use that inference rules, but instead, what's my best way is that I find D closure. And this time I will find D closure on the union of F1 union F2 union F3. Because I want to know whether D determines A is recognized by these new dependencies, which are defined by R1, R2, R3. So what is D closure going to contain? It's going to contain D. And look here, this dependency, D determines C, will bring in C. And just check here, this dependency then C determines B will bring in B. And just check, this dependency B determines A will bring in A. So very well D closure contains A, isn't it? Using all the 3 FD sets, F1 union F2 union F3, we can know that D determines A indirectly. So the 4th dependency is also satisfied. So this decomposition is both lossless and it is FD preserving. Now the other way of determining this D determines A, you remember this was not there directly. D determines A was not there directly, isn't it? But then you could have said D determines C is given by F3 set. Then D determines B is given by F2 set. And B determines A is given by F1 set. So C, D to C, C to B, and B to A, that means D determines A, isn't it? But here we are using inference rules, which are somewhat difficult. My best idea to use is the closure set, isn't it? I hope you have understood that this is both lossless and FD preserving. In the next video, I will tell you another example and we will check whether this decomposition is lossless and FD preserving. Thank you very much.